So as some of you may or may not know, Pastor Voddie Baucham had passed late last month, sometime after Charlie Kirk had passed, which was another hit in the Christian faith. Some of you may agree, some of you may not agree. Interesting fact is that CNN only allowed Voddie Baucham on their platform once, many years ago. Let's go ahead and check out the video and see actually what happened and why is it that was the last time they let him on. Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is a channel where we find the truth, seek understanding, and be the light. It's your boy, Bleu. Let's just go ahead and get right into it. So if you guys may or may not recall, this happened plenty of years ago. Voddie Baucham was put on CNN. This was back plenty of years ago. Apparently, Sarah Palin was, who was she running for? Was she running for president at the time? Yes, I do recall Sarah Palin when she ran. Okay, yes, that's correct. So Sarah Palin was a Republican nominee for 2008. Interesting. Oh, well, the vice presidential nominee for John McCain in 2008 with Obama. So the interesting thing about the situation was that they had Voddie Baucham come on and another pastor. I think she was at the Methodist Church, but it was a female. Now, I'm not sure if they actually did this with intent to spark some interest, but I guess they were just trying to get some perspective between a male pastor figurehead and a female pastor figurehead. But what was it that happened that made that the very last time that they brought him on? You would think that, they would bring the pastors on more often, but they didn't. They don't bring pastors all the time. But when they talk about Christian church-based stuff, they tend to bring on certain pastors back every now and then. But let's just go ahead and see exactly what was going on. Sorry for low quality.
And she could potentially lead a country, but she'd be banned from leading many congregations. So why does Sarah Palin seem to be winning over so many evangelicals? Let's bring in two people.
So I think I understand the reasoning now. She is winning so the point that they were making here was because the church talks about women leading, and Voddie Baucham is one to say that he is definitely one to speak of we have roles as male, as female, as husband, as wife. We have roles on this earth when we're building something, when we're protecting something. The idea is that women aren't supposed to be in the lead, in the head role. And Voddie Baucham is heavy, like dead set on that. And he's going straight off of the word.
You may have some answers for us. Voddie Baucham is a pastor at Grace Family.
Woo! Young Voddie, man. Sheesh, yo. Almost 20 years ago.
The Baptist Church in Spring, Texas. And Margaret Feinberg is an evangelical speaker who lived in Alaska for 5 years and saw Palin get elected.
Oh, evangelical speaker. Okay, sorry. I misspoke. She's not a pastor. She's just an evangelical speaker.
Governor, good to see you both.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Margaret, let's start with you. I want you both actually to touch on this quickly. Why does her faith matter?
Her faith matters because it says a lot about who she is as a person and her outlooks on life and the policies that will come to play in our nation.
Reverend Baucham?
I agree completely. Political ideology is really an outgrowth of our religious beliefs. You can't separate what a person believes from how a person will govern. So I think it's incredibly important that we know where people stand on religious issues.
So, Margaret, why do you think she's winning over these evangelicals?
That's an important statement right there. That's an important statement. Why? Because you really have to look at somebody's beliefs. I mean, he said it just plain and clear. Based off of somebody's beliefs is how they will govern. If they are a Satanist and they don't care for nothing and you can just do whatever, and that's how they're going to lead. Well, I can't say Satanist, but I could kind of say Satanist because Satanists essentially think that they are their own God. So it's like everybody's their own God. You could do whatever you want. Then that's what's going to happen. If you have somebody that's Muslim, which is another topic that we're going to get into later on, then they're going to try to inflict Muslim type beliefs and, create laws around the Muslim faith. The thing about Christianity that, if we're going off of history, this country, America, after they took away the land from the Indians, which I know a lot of people are going to bring up, this country was founded under those who were under the Christian faith, which is how we have some of our laws. So if we were any other type of nation, then we would also, and if you look at other nations, they go by their laws based off of mainly the faith, whatever faith, religion that they have that's heavy in there. Unless you're in North Korea where you're just under a dictatorship. But that's kind of how things roll. They roll off of whatever it is that they believe in. And that's important. So when we're choosing somebody to lead a nation, you have to kind of gauge at least, okay, if this person is Christian, then they should be a caring person, then they should want the best for the country, and then they should be willing to uphold laws, then they should be willing to provide justice, but at the same time do so with a kind heart. And they shouldn't be lying, they shouldn't be stealing. That's the idea, but this is America. But that's kind of what we're seeing here. Or that's kind of what he's kind of talking here. At least that should be a first appearance type thing. Of course, people can fake any day that they want, but it's a good precedent. It's a good like preset. Where does your faith lie? Who do you claim to believe in? And then we kind of go from there.
I've been so skeptical of McCain.
I think on one hand, she's known for her conservative values, and that's translated in her leadership and her time in Alaska. But I think also for younger evangelicals, there is a hunger to see a more exciting ticket. There was kind of a ho-hum factor for McCain, but when Palin came on board, she added the vavoom that was so needed in order to garner the attention and the excitement for young evangelicals.
And here's what's interesting, Reverend Baucham, she's winning over church members, church leaders that don't even allow women to preach at the pulpit, yet she could be leading the country. What do you make of that?
Well, it's interesting. The bottom line on that is people look at this ticket and their fear is that we will have Barack Obama as our president, that we will be moved toward a socialist agenda, that we would have the most radically pro-abortion candidate ever to run for president to serve in that office. And that is an untenable position for evangelicals. And so they look at this and they're trying to decide this based on what's best for the nation in the here and now, and oftentimes overlooking some of those other issues.
Do you think that that's something that, are you saying that shouldn't be overlooked? I mean, do you think that women in evangelical circles where women are not allowed to preach, let's say Palin and McCain do win, and here you have this woman that could possibly be leading the free world, and yet there's evangelicals voting for her that don't even believe that a woman should preach at the pulpit. Should this change the face of how evangelicals believe in the woman's role?
Ooh, no. It shouldn't. We'll talk about it at the end.
Change the way evangelicals believe about women's roles. I think it has sparked a discussion. And quite frankly, feminism has gained a foothold in many evangelical churches.
Do you think that's a good thing?
No, I don't. Not at all.
Why not?
Well, because we're about the gospel. The culture doesn't dictate truth. The gospel dictates truth. My job is not to be a political pundit or political activist. My job is to be a pastor and proclaim the truth of the gospel as clearly as I possibly can.
Well, what about the Old Testament and the prophet Deborah? I mean, she was a political leader. She was a wife. She was a mother. She was one of the biggest forces in the book of Judges.
She had that in her pocket. That was sitting right there in the pocket. And that she was slowly pulling that thing out like a gotcha. She had that thing ready, but she ain't know who she was messing with. Girl, you did not know who you were messing with. This is Voddie Baucham, Mr. Apologetic himself. What? You thought if that was the one bullet that you had in the gauge, girl, you done messed up.
So that's the gospel right there.
She certainly was. And the fact that something happened doesn't mean that it's normative for the church. In Isaiah chapter 3, for example, one of the signs that a culture is under judgment is that women are in leadership in their nations. So Deborah was actually a sign that things were very bad in Israel, not a norm for the church.
Margaret, I'm curious to see what you think about this and what the Reverend's saying.
I think that's a fair perspective, Voddie, but I think we also need to look at Ephesians 5, which describes, it's saying that husbands are to lay down their lives for their wives, just as Jesus Christ laid down his life for the church.
All right. I'm trying not to like be outbursty or whatever, but be straightforward with this. Now, see what's going on here. We talked about this plenty of times in the past in regards to marriage. This is what we're talking about, marriage. like Voddie said, we're not worrying about politics. We're not going to put the politics into the church and then change the church, Big C church, because of politics. We change politics based off of how we live as a church. That's how things go politically is supposed to be based off of how we live, not how things go politically determines how we live as a church. So with her saying that, for her bringing up that verse, how does that's even reaching right there? How does that verse for Jesus Christ has to lay his life for Jesus laid his life for the church, so men are to lay their lives for women or sacrifice their lives for women? What does that have to do with politics and women leading? They sacrificing themselves so that women can lead? That's not, I don't know. Y'all let me know in the comment section what y'all think. I already know what I think, but y'all let me know. Y'all let me know.
And in the same way, I think Todd has done an incredible job opening up the opportunity for Palin to use the gifts and the talents and the passions that she has been given in order to make a difference in her community and possibly in our nation and world on a significant political landscape and effect.
Margaret, is the Reverend sounding a little sexist, or is it just me?
I would have to say the Reverend is sounding a little questionable there. But in the sense that I believe that everyone, despite gender, has an opportunity to serve, to give, and to play a role in making a difference in their communities, in their churches, and around the world.
Reverend, this could be an exciting time. I mean, this could break through. We're becoming progressive in so many ways. We're seeing a black man possibly winning the presidency. We're seeing a woman here that on the Republican ticket that's rousing up evangelicals.
Which is interesting that she says that. It's so weird because like times like this, all these different words are just like, it's just different. As you can see, we have two people that are clearly like rooting for the Republican ticket, yet they clearly have very different views. They have very different views on the church and how the church should be led and how people have their roles. Now, she's not wrong. Men and women do have their gifts, but when it comes to leading, that's a completely different story. And the fact that the host actually mentions like progressive having a female woman on the ticket, black man as a president. The idea of progressive was just a matter of kind of a shift in some things. I feel like the term progressive nowadays is just used in such a negative, to me and a lot of people, such a negative way. It doesn't mean what it means,
Possibly to think twice about the woman's role in the church. I mean, this is fascinating times.
They are fascinating times, and they're also frightening times. When you see Margaret Feinberg use Ephesians chapter 5, which clearly says that a husband is the head of the wife, in order to justify somehow with this sleight of hand that Palin's husband is laying down his life by allowing her to do that. Number one, she's playing fast and loose with the text. And secondly, she is also ignoring the fact that Palin's responsibility as a wife and mother is governed by Scripture, not by whether we feel it's progressive in our culture.
Margaret, final thought there.
Voddie, I believe that's a narrow interpretation and a boxy interpretation of the text, as well as the role of women.
How is it a boxy interpretation? Deuteronomy says it clear, and in Proverbs it says it clear. Do not add or take from the Scriptures. So, in a sense, when it comes to these type of rules that's kind of given to us, it is a box. It is a box. Those are a box. When it comes to the spirit, when it comes to how we learn, how we love, and how we give, and we do for others the way that Jesus has died for us, then yes, things starts to open up. But again, Jesus didn't come to change what was given to us in the past. He kind of, if you look at it, he kind of summarized everything up. That doesn't mean that everything of the past, the old commandments, doesn't apply. So, and even then, everything is said in the New Testament as well. So yeah, it's definitely like that right there. It's specific. That's a box. It's a box. Unless somebody says that it's not a box. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Today's working families, many families in the United States need both the man and the wife in order to work outside of the home, in order to support the family and to put that kind of burden on the family whereby a woman must stay at home. I just don't think that translates into many working class families today.
My job is not to translate into working class families. My job is to be honest with the text. And the text says in Titus chapter 2 and verse 5, a woman is to be the keeper of her home. Now, I will not violate the teaching of the text in order to somehow sound more appropriate for the
Right.
culture. I am a herald of the truth of the gospel. And my job is
And I just literally did a video about this, about Pastor Anthony Mitchell talking about the black church. What he just said is exactly it. I'm not going to sit. He's not going to sit here and mingle with them and try to shift some things of the text just to conform with what it is going on in society. We're not doing that. That comes second. The text, being a Christian, your faith comes first before absolutely anything else. And then you can talk about, oh, I'm the head of the household, or I'm a woman and I'm the breadwinner of my house, or I'm a woman, or I'm black or I'm white or whatever. That can come second, but you have to first look at the text and go by the text.
is to teach the gospel according to what the authors have said, not according to what I think the culture wants to hear.
But Voddie, being a keeper of the home can be translated in so many different ways. And that means that if a woman happens to be the breadwinner, shouldn't they have the opportunity to step out and take care of their family in that way?
Listen.
All right, what about the text that says the man and the woman should submit to one another? I think I'm just going to leave it right there, folks. And I'm going to be studying the Bible tonight, and I promise to bring you two back, especially as we see this go forward and seeing how
Yeah, if I recall, Voddie did not come back after that. He never came back after that. Oh man, ain't nobody want to take the heat with Voddie unless it's an actual learning experience. She only came with that one bullet and she ain't know what she was asking for. So let's go ahead and jump in. I actually wasn't gonna bring this up, so let's go ahead and bring this up. When he talked about Isaiah and how Isaiah was mentioning that if we see women ruling, then we know that we're in a fallen state. And Isaiah says this. The whole book of Isaiah is Isaiah bringing up how Israel has fallen. How Israel has fallen, and it's Israel's fault. Israel has turned against God. And this is the idea that we want to keep in mind. Israel has turned against God and decided to do things on their own. And things have just went for the worse. Let's go back a couple verses just to make sure we get a couple context. Let's see. Okay, let's start with Judah. Okay, for Jerusalem has stumbled and Judah has fallen because their speech and their deeds are against the Lord. Guys, this is very important. This is how you have to really determine where you're going to sit when it comes to following God. Because it's either you're going to follow what God says to do as a child should, or you're not going to. And it's one or the other. Israel decided time and time again not to, which is why they were put in the situation that they were in. Where was I? Because their speech and their deeds are against the Lord, defying his glorious presence. For the look on their faces bears witness against them. They proclaim their sin like Sodom. They proclaim their sin. They don't even care. They are out with it. It's like, yeah, I'm sinning. Hey, this is me. This is what I do. I'm prideful in everything that I'm doing, and it's against the Lord. Let's keep going. They do not hide it. Woe to them, for they have brought evil on themselves. Tell the righteous that it shall be well with them, for they shall eat the fruit of their deeds. Woe to the wicked, it shall be ill with him, for what his hands have dealt out shall be done to him. My people, infants are their oppressors, and the women rule over them. That's what he was talking about. Oh, my people, your guides mislead you, and they have swallowed up the course of your path. The Lord has taken his place to contend. Guys, this is Isaiah chapter 3, verse 8 to 13. Everything that Voddie just stated in regards to this situation, these are warnings. This was a warning, and this is the stuff that we see today. So the thing that, and it's just interesting because this is definitely like a tricky topic, and a lot of people are going to feel differently about it. It's one thing for women to minister. It's one thing for women to have gifts. It's one thing for women to, teach the kids, teach other women. If somebody is misinformed, be able to correct them. They have all rights to do that. The problem is leading. There have been several times, especially in the New Testament, when the new church is formed, where it's instructed that women should not lead the church. Women shouldn't be head pastors of the church. Now, that doesn't mean they can't lead a small group. That doesn't mean that they can't, have a sermon at a conference or something like that. But as far as them being the sole guidance of the church, that essentially that's where the Bible is saying, yeah, we can't have that. Not even a matter that we can't have it. It's a saying that we shouldn't have that. So the question is, what is it that you guys think in regards to this? Is Voddie right and all these apologetics right about women? Can they not be pastors? I mean, it says it in the Bible that women can't lead. They can't have that higher power. Does that apply to the workplace if she were to be president, like Kamala? If Kamala were to be president, are we then a doomed nation? I mean, that's what Isaiah said. Y'all let me know what y'all think. And let's start a conversation about that. I'm going to catch you on the next one. Take it easy. Peace.